proclamation for USATF. Unfortunately, my sister and my coach, Terry Crawford, was not able to be here today. But we will have my brother Lloyd come up. But just a real quick reflection on USATF as they have laid, as I talked about earlier, their foundations. I've had many wonderful memories growing up on the track circuit with our crew, and some of my teammates are here today. And I believe what most of you in the room probably remember is TAC. Is that right? Started off, Dad started Northern Track and Field, and TAC that went into USATF. And those doors that were open for myself and so many other people being able to just compete around the country at the highest level in your age group is what USATF, formerly known as TAC, what it is, what it has been, and what it continues to be. And so Lloyd, L. Lloyd, as you all know him now, the co-founder of Crossroads Track and Field and former VP of USATF, the Ohio Association. We'll bring a proclamation to USATF.
Hey, thanks, Brent Bob. Yeah, I mean, my dad, and he started at Central, then he started planting some roots here in Trotwood years later, and then, if you all knew my dad, he didn't stand still. He started getting busy doing work, and track and field was some of the work that he loved to do, and USA Track and Field was the organization he decided to do it with, and many of you I see here in the crowd, he pulled you right into USA Track and Field just like he did everybody. He's like, hey, you know how to use a stopwatch? Come here, Jerry, you will start doing this. And that's how he kind of got started. He did the same thing with USA Track and Field. So I'm honored to speak more just because I know Mr. Crawford couldn't make it, but I'll go ahead and read here now. So a proclamation of USA Track and Field in recognition of the life of Harold Lefty Martin. Whereas Harold Lefty Martin was a beloved official, administrator, and coach in the sport of track and field for more than 6 decades. And whereas Harold Lefty Martin was a record-setting sprinter and relay runner at Central State University, Wilberforce, Ohio. And whereas Harold Lefty Martin was the head women's coach for Team USA at the 1990 International Amateur Athletics Federation World Junior Championships in Bulgaria. And whereas Harold Lefty Martin helped found the Northwest Track Club in Trotwood, Ohio, a club that produced 6 future Olympians and more than 60 national youth champions. And whereas Harold Lefty Martin served as a referee at numerous USA Track and Field National Junior Olympics and Youth Athletic Championships. And whereas Harold Lefty Martin was the meet director for the 1983 Youth Athletics National Championships in Dayton, Ohio. And whereas Harold Lefty Martin was the chief of recreation therapy at the Veterans Administration Medical Center in Dayton, Ohio for 28 years. And whereas Harold Lefty Martin served as the head track and field coach at the University of Dayton for 7 years. And whereas Harold Lefty Martin was honored by the city of Dayton in 2015 for his extensive and exemplary work with the area youth. Be it hereby proclaimed on this March 8, 2025, USA Track and Field honors Harold Lefty Martin and lauds his legacy to athletics in the state of Ohio, to USA Track and Field, and to the entire sport. Signed, Matt Siegel, CEO, USA Track and Field. I cut the emphasize in the end because that was kind of my dad, and he was just doing things all the time. And really, USA Track and Field was the start, but then we had all these proclamations of all the different organizations he did, but really the impact he had on lives was the biggest thing. And as we transition to this reflection period, we want to talk about the impact he had here locally. So we're going to ask the representative for Northwest Track Club to come on up. And while we're waiting, just the amazing thing about, if you're here in the city, I run into people all the time, and I see them say, oh, yeah, Northwest Track Club. And for years, I didn't understand. Someone would be like, hey, Lloyd, man, your dad changed my life. I'm like, my dad? Like, what did he do? He said, oh, man, he's like, I'm working, I got a family because I was able to go to college. I was able to go to college because I got a degree, because I was doing the track scholarship, because I ran track. I ran track in high school because I was at Northwest, running track at Northwest when I got my footing started. So if your dad didn't pull me out here, I wonder where are you? Northwest changed my life. I was like, oh, my dad, the world changer. Wow. Awesome.
Hello. Let me first say thank you so much for coming out and honoring our dad. A tribute to our father, my coach, and the founder of Northwest Track Club. From the very beginning, you saw something in me that I could not yet see in myself. You were more than just a father. You were my coach, my mentor, my guide, and the steady force behind my journey in track and field. With the creation of Northwest Track Club, you didn't just introduce me to the sport. You built the foundation that would shape my life, brick by brick, with discipline, sacrifice, and love. From the very first Parks and Recreation track meet that you took me and Dwayne, to compete in at Rock High School at around age 7 and 9, my life, our family's lives were changed forever. With the newfound fervor you saw in both of us as young kids, you made the crucial decision in 1978 to start a new track club in a small community in Trotwood, Ohio. And as a result, the youth community and track and field scene in our part of Ohio would never be the same. For me, you nurtured my talent, never letting me settle for less than my best. You controlled the chaos, and even sometimes you loved that chaos. You steered me through obstacles that would mess with my focus and taught me greatness is earned through hard work and perseverance. You planned every race, every practice, and every moment of doubt that was in me. You stood in my corner with an unwavering belief. Through your commitment to your passion, you directed my steps and the steps of many young athletes that came to you for guidance. For me, it created not just on the track, but in life. The values of resilience, humility, and relentless determinations were instilled in me. These are qualities that even at age 58, I still fall back on in this constant and ever-changing race of life. Without you and Mom, there would be no Olympic medal, no two-time Olympian, no state championships, no story to tell. You both were the architects of my success. And together, you built something greater than medals. You built a legacy. Northwest Track Club wasn't just an organization. It was a testament to your love for the sport, your commitment to young athletes, and your desires to give back. So many owe you both a deep sense of gratitude for the impact you have forever made on their lives and the lives of generations to come. And of course, many of us will forever cherish that memory of the best part of our experience at Trotwood Track. Some of y'all remember that. The end of practice and those frozen orange drinks in the carton. In my day, it cost, what, 10 cents, 25 cents? That was the best part of practice. I stand on the podium of life because both you and Mom and countless coaches at Northwest Track Club were committed to our success. Every accolade, every triumph, Every finish line I crossed was paved by your dedication and belief in me, and words will never be enough to thank you. But I hope you know that every step I take, every success I achieve, is a reflection of the man and the woman, which is my mom, because you guys worked in tandem, who made it all possible. I am and always will be proud to be the daughter of a visionary coach, the founder of Northwest Track Club, your athlete and your legacy. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for everything. Rest in heaven, and don't worry, we will honor the last request you made to me. You said to me, feebly, but with surety, Bonnie, take care of your mother for me. That's our body, girl. Mr. Stone, Dad, PhD classmate and long time friend, is gonna make his way up to the stage. I'm gonna get in trouble for this, but as Bonnie was talking about, my girl was talking about her experiences and how Dad laid that foundation for her. At the end of the program, we have our reception in the cafeteria. I encourage you to check out some of the accolades that are in the cases around the cafeteria. There is one very specific case dedicated to Bonnie girl. Bring up Mr. Stone.
Sorry, Father, too. Listen, Lefty and I have been together since 1958. That's a long time. His motto was, ship of 58, ship of 58. Any 58 people in here? Stand up here. Who is it? Here we go. You know, Lefty and I met in 58, both of us were freshmen at Central State. And I saw him, I think we had the same name. He had Martin. My middle name is Martin too, also, for St. Martin de Porres, but they call me Martin. And we had to be standing next to each other. And I said, I didn't know it was Lefty then, I just said, what brought you here to this school? He said, I'm on track scholarship. I said, what? He said, what you? I said, I'm on probation. I was on probation, he was on a track scholarship. They told me to come there, and if you get you a 2 point by the end of the year, we'll let you stay. I didn't even know what a 2 point was. Anyhow, Lefty and I took the same class for the first semester. We went to the same class. So that's how we got to know each other much better then. And also in his freshman year, we found out that Lefty could remember sports. He was always the one who set up all arguments about sports. Somebody said, man, Lefty, what Jackie Robinson? He played second base. He batted 3-something. He just remembered everything, like me. And I went through freshman year, and we finally got to spring of 58, and that's when I found out how fast he was. I said, this boy can run. I thought I was fast, you know, but he could really run. He asked me, was I going up for I went up for the baseball team. Made the team. I didn't know if I was gonna make the team or not, because I didn't make the varsity until high school. The last senior year in high school. Made the team. The team was so good, we won the NAIA district championship. We beat Ashland and we beat Defiance. Defiance in the championship game. I got a book here, I got a spare book here. Sophomore year, Lefty and I pledged, he pledged captain. Sorry. He pledged a mega side five. Boom, boom. I can't get my arms up anymore. I pledged cap out the side. And then all of a sudden, as we finished playing, Lefty said to me, he always called me Nelson. He never called me Stoney, never called me Marty, he always called me Nelson. He said, Nelson, I think we can make some money. I said, doing what? He said, delivering pizzas from the pizza house. I said, what? From IT. Anybody remember IT in Virginia? You know what it stood for? It stood for Eileen and Ted. I folks didn't know that. So Lefty went in to talk to the man at IT, and the man gave us 20% discount for anything, whatever the bill came to. We charged 10 cents to each student. 10 cents, that's all we charge. We have about 100 boarders. They could be dividing money like, but I had money there. I had like $5 or $10 in my pocket. I bet I could go to Mom Baby and get me a tuna sandwich. But that was very solid. Junior year, I can't even remember right here. Oh, that's when he ran the 9-5. I came from a baseball game, I didn't even get to see it. He said, man, you're going to change back. What are you running? He said, he ran a 9-5. I said, Nick, you ran on 9-5? Yes, he did. I was so sad because I didn't get to see him. Ran a 9-5. I said, well, that was fine. What am I, in the junior year? What happened that junior year? We had a panty raid. That was the biggest thing that happened on campus, panty raid. And you may not believe this, they put every state patrolman in Ohio on campus and marched us over to Galloway. Like we were criminals. Get out the bed, get out the bed. And when he did that to us, marched us everywhere. You know, they have panty raids at the University of Dayton, they don't call the cops on nobody. They call to run us stuff. Okay, that year too, Dr. Lewis made Lefty the intramural director. I was always his assistant, as the assistant. I was always his assistant, all the time. Up to our first senior year. I had 2 senior years. Lefty had a senior year only because he was a music minor. I had it because I had to take lead lab. Anyhow, Dr. Lewis knew we weren't going to graduate on time, so she asked Lefty and I, would you all like to go to some training at the VA hospital? You don't have to pay anything, but you have something else, you can get another job at the VA. So Lefty and I went to the VA for that summer of '63, and we learned corrective therapy, which later turned into kinesiology. And both of Lefty and I don't know why she picked both, but she knew we were close. She picked us both. We went, when we finished that, Lefty was still on campus. I took a job at the boys club under Henry Lawton. I had a job in an apartment on 3rd Street. I had a class to take to graduate, reading lab. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I hitchhiked on Sunday night, get over there by Monday, only at 10 o'clock. I took that class for a whole semester to graduate, but I graduated. You know, I'm trying to make you all laugh because I'm really sad because they've been together for such a long time. We would sit down and talk sometime, and then we got together, we talked about what we did in school, Central State. And like Lloyd said, love some Central. God for Central for State. Yes, sir. So I said, Lefty, if I go first, what would you say about me? He said, you wasn't nothing. That's what he said. You think I'm kidding? He said that. And I'm still standing, just barely standing, believe me. And we graduated. Lefty, we both went home. He went home. This is in 1963. Lefty got drafted, not drafted, but he was a lieutenant, commissioned lieutenant. I got drafted a week before the president was assassinated and went into the service. We left and I stayed in contact. He came back to Dayton. He actually took the job that I had at the Boys Club. So yeah, we still hooked together. Sure did. Finally, the VA called me and told they had an opening. So I went on and took it. I worked there a couple years. I called Lefty. He said the job opened for recreation. I called him up. Lefty came over, took the job, and then became the chief of recreation. You see, we're still hooked together. Still hooked together. Our kids went to the same daycare, the Davises. Remember that? I can't remember where the street she lived on, or they lived on. But anyhow, my son, you all know Marty, he went, and that's how he became close with, he really got close with Dwayne, I think. Sure did. Anyhow, as the years went on, when I started seeing Lefty's health deteriorating, I was getting worried. You know, first I wasn't worried, but I was getting worried. And I was telling Brenda, I said, Lefty just ain't looking right. And she knows I did say that. Lefty wasn't looking right, right? I tried to talk to him. And I think 2 days before he passed away, I was going to see him. I was so sad because I couldn't get him to open his eyes. I said, Shipper 58, come on, give me some light. Shipper 58. Kind of nodded. I think he wanted to say something, but just couldn't get it out. Then 2 days later, Brenda called me and said, he's gone. I said, Lord have mercy. Me and his brother been together 67 years, I think it's been. 67 years. But you know why we stayed close too? We stayed close because of the school we went to. Central State. I think Central State has something to do with us being close. What's so important about Central? The most important thing is the relationship I've made, and I made friends for life. Made friends for life. Never did I ever think when I met Lefty that he and I would be together all these years together. So I don't have too much more to say than that. I found some pictures, matter of fact, I got up at 6 o'clock this morning. I said, I got a picture of Lefty playing the trombone on the VA steps. I got it right out there. I showed it to him when everybody wanted to see it. He was a trombone man. Lefty was also a tuba man. He was a tuba man. If he had gone to Ohio State, he would have died in the eye. Song, Shake It On Baby. Well, look here. Lloyd, thanks for letting me come up here and say nothing. Let us be very proud. I know he took it down, said, get off the stage, boy. Thank you, love you all.
Good old Mr. Stone. Mr. Stone was, at the last, days of my, last months of my father's life, Mr. Stone was there. And, my dad was like, oh, my best friend, Mr. Stone, come and see him. Stone's always been a blessing to our family, with a little comic relief. But, before we bring up the eulogy, get the Winnie boy up here, I probably just want to say something that. Soul waits for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. For our hearts are glad in him, because we trust in his holy name. Let your steadfast love, O Lord, be upon us, even as we hope in you. I used to say that to him every opportunity over the last few months. Just wanted to make sure that was buried in his spirit. Because to you all, and I know most of you all know him as Mr. Martin. I know there's a lot of you in here who know him as Coach Martin. All of you know him as Lefty. But to me, he was Dad. That's all he was to me. He was Dad. And it wasn't just that's what he thought, but I love my dad. I love my dad. I know my dad can be a stubborn SOB, but I love him. I know my dad could be something else, and he would tell you he was something else and didn't care, but I love him. My dad was the most consistent person I know in this world, and I love him. And I miss him. I miss my dad. I miss being able to just call him on the phone and talk to him. And I mean, our conversations were really simple. I could call him up, and you know how my dad is. Hello? I'm like, hey, what's up, Dad? What you up to? Oh man, I'm doing something. He would just start telling me what he's doing, and then usually he had a complaint there about something. He's like, he would complain about something, and then he would just share everything. And you know what your mama did, because he knew everything my mom did, because he would tell me, because he was keeping track, because he cared about her, and he knew everything she was doing. He probably just didn't always tell her he knew everything she was doing, but he was always keeping track. But then he would go in and he would start talking about track. So we're a track family. So he would start telling me, because my dad was a human database. He kept track of everybody who came to Northwest, or anybody who did track. He kept track of them. He knew what they were doing even after they stopped running track. Where they were, what type of things they were doing out there in the community. He knew. He just, I was like, man, how do you remember all that? And he knew it. He just captured all of it. And then we would talk about that a little bit. And then he would always, when we were done, he would always say, later. And that's the things that I just miss. I miss hearing him say, like, and I miss my dad, and I wish I could talk to him again. Because the one thing that my dad would talk about that really started to change me is he would say, hey Lloyd, let me get your thought on this. Hey Lloyd, what do you think about this? Hey Lloyd, what's your opinion? And the fact that my dad started asking me about my opinion and respecting my opinion was big for me. Because it's like, oh, not only as a man does he respect my opinion, as his son, he respects my opinion. It doesn't mean he always did what I suggested to him, but the fact that he respected my opinion meant a lot to me. And the reason why is because you all have to understand, right? We're marketers. And all I've ever known from April to early August is track. That's all I've ever known in my whole life is track. Maybe you can say it with me. Yeah, that's all I've ever known. So then, and as I've grown up, it's almost like track defined my relationship with my dad. And as I grew up, and my dad, I'm a soccer for soccer to this day. But again, as a Martin, we love. As I started to grow up, and I always felt like there was some disconnect between me and my dad because I love soccer. I wasn't always into track. Even as I got there as a teenager, I was like, oh, I don't know if my dad loves me because I'm not out there doing. Oh, someone up here, help me up here, please. But then as I got older and I started going off to college and I started smelling myself and started thinking I had everything figured out, me and my dad used to butt heads all the time. And some of it was because I wasn't all involved in. Yeah, and we even had a physical standoff at one point in our life. And just like me and my dad were it was destined that I was never going to get along with my dad. And I kind of put in my head that, you know what, I'm leaving Trotwood, I'm never coming back, I'm going to go do something else, and that's it. But then, like everything, I came to a crossroad in my life. I had challenges. I was in danger of not graduating from college because I didn't take care of my business. And I prayed to God. I was like, God, please help me get through this situation. And God said it to me as clear as day. Lord, how can you expect to have a relationship with your spiritual father if you're running from your physical father? And I was like, ouch, God, that hurts. Yeah. So what did I do? I came back home. I had to regroup. I had to reconnect with my father because I knew that was the only way I could get connected to my spiritual father. And once I did that, things turned around. I ended up graduating. I started a career. And then what did my dad do? Hey, Lloyd, we got a practice one. Why don't you come over here and help coach? Man, I haven't been around track in like 10, 50 days. Come over here. Okay. Yes, sir. And then what did I started out there coaching track with my father. And then all of a sudden, our relationship starts to build. And the next thing I know, me and my dad, we even took the trips to Pittsburgh, and I would get to meet some of his cronies that I didn't know about. And I started to understand things about my dad. And I learned to respect my dad. And I was like, man, you all right. I didn't know you was all right. I thought you was something else. But he was all right. And our relationship grew. And then we became grown. And the next thing I know, I meet the love of my life. And my dad meets it, next thing you know, it says, hey, Lloyd, he's like, hey, nature, come here. So, because he loved my wife, and he had that relationship with my wife. And then I had sons, and then he had a relationship with my sons. And it just continued to grow and grow and bloom, and it was just awesome. I mean, I love the family atmosphere that we had, not only with my dad, and then, with my mom, and it was great. But like all challenges, life those challenges at us, right? And there came another crossroads. And guess what? Me and my dad fell out over. Yes. But it was at that crossroads that I knew, you know what? Track doesn't define the relationship that I have with my dad. I love my dad. I love being out there coaching track, but track is not the relationship we have. So we had to let something go. And between the two of us, track had to go, so we secured the relationship that me and my dad had. And that's what was most important to me, is that we were able to still secure that relationship. That track didn't define it, that we had more in common outside of track than in track. And that's what's so special to me, especially these last few months that I had with my dad. I got a chance to talk with him. I got a chance to go see with him all the time. And guess what? We rarely ever talk about it. Yeah, that wasn't track. And that's what was so special. And that's what just. I love my dad. I do. I love my dad. I used to go see him. He said to me a bunch of times. These last few days of his life. He said, Lloyd, you're a good son. Oh my dad, thank you. He said, Lloyd, you're a good son. You've been such a blessing to me. You blessed my life. I tried, man. I tried. I just tried to be the best son I could. But Jesus said you did. You've been a good son. You take care of your mother. And every time I think about that, I just start crying because I did my best. I made my dad proud. It had nothing to do with it.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. That's gonna be my goal with it. I'll do my best, and I'm gonna try. How's everybody today? Thank you so much for coming here today, man. Whew. I look out here and I haven't seen some of y'all about 10, 15, 20, 30 pounds ago. I haven't seen y'all in a long time. It's great to see everyone here. It's good to see the smile on face. It's good to see my father's legacy moving on, and on. For one person, yeah, was no cry. You are strong. We are here playing a role, acting, we're doing our thing. We all are. Thank you. Because I asked Mom one time, Mom, I need for you to be strong for the people who are not as strong as you, and I need for you to be weak for the people you're not as strong as. And that's the thing that I ask of each and every single person. So what I want to do today, I want to give you guys a different type of eulogy. I want to give you a narrative eulogy. We're going to go on and drop you off, and I'm going to pick you up. We're going to come back. We're going to laugh. We're going to do stuff today, and I just want you to stay with me. And I got some guidelines when I do what I speak when I'm public speaking. I get caught on shiny objects. Squirrel. And I'll start looking. So I just need for you to say, hey, get back on script. That's all I need you to do. It's okay. It'll happen. You probably won't even know that I'm off script. And you'll be, I'm doing it right now. So it's just when you get back on script. That's all you got to do. About 15 years ago, my wife asked me, who is your favorite character in the Bible? Without hesitation, bam, Joshua. Joshua was fierce. Joshua was tough. Joshua was strong. Joshua fought every battle, and he won every battle with the exception of Ai. But the thing about it is, I don't know why I like Joshua. Maybe it was called when Mom gave us the Bible. Remember the little kid Bible that had a bunch of pictures. I used to like read the book with a bunch of pictures. Or I don't even know if it was that song, that Sunday school. Remember that? That love Jericho and the walls on But that could have been it. But the true fact of the matter is, over the years, I had a chance to do some intensive research and study on Joshua and understand who Joshua was. Maybe it was for this particular moment right here. I'm not sure. And I want to get to that, but I need about 90 seconds to talk to you about Joshua's mentor, which was Moses. And most of us know who Moses was. And you don't. You know, think about Charlton Heston back in the day. Think about that. And Moses was, for the first 40 years of Moses' life, he was living the lifestyle of the rich and famous. I'm paraphrasing here, because I got some people out here, some theologians out here, don't come up and correct me. Wait, they don't want to paraphrase. But for the first 40 years of Moses' life, he lived the lifestyle of the rich and famous. He was drawn out of the water, and he lived with Pharaoh's eating large grapes until they killed that Egyptian. And then he ran out of the desert for another. He was born out there in the desert, and I don't know what you're going to do in the desert. I was out in Kuwait a couple of times, but he wandered out there for 40 years, got married, had a couple of kids, all of it until he saw that burning bush. Talking to him. And that's when God told me, let my people go. I'm not going to let these people go, especially with Moses, and he's done it. So how you gonna let people go and stuff? Moses went back to Egypt, and what his responsibility was getting those people out of Egypt, going to Canaan. A 400-mile trip that was supposed to take 10 days, but it took 40 years. But just one of the things I'm great at, basically. So I can tell you what, if you have 400 miles to go, and you take 10 days, that's 40 miles a day. So basic math. And if the man, wherever the man is, they say that it's supposed to have 10,000 steps per day, and 5 miles is 10,000 steps. That puts you at 80,000 steps per day. That's an assignment. To go 80,000 steps per day. But anyway, when Moses took them out of Egypt, it was 1.5 million Israelites took them out of Egypt and then took them to the promised land. And the thing about Moses is one of the greatest men of the Bible, but he did not pursue his mission. Moses' mission was to take 1.5 million people to the promised land, and he did not do that. He died before he got there. The Pentateuch is the first Bible. Moses wrote this 1400 BC. The 6th chapter of the Bible was from Joshua. And obviously, if Joshua wrote the 6th book of the Bible, Moses could not write his own death. So Joshua had to write Moses' death, which is the first several books of the book of Joshua. And although Moses' job was to get the people to Canaan, which is the promised land, Joshua's job was to conquer the promised land, to take the promised land. Let me talk to you in track terms, because I might have lost me. Moses passed the baton to Joshua to go through the finish line. You guys got it. There we go. I was not there when my father got his assignment, but I do know that his mission started somewhere in Pittsburgh on his way to Central State. There, he studied physical education, helped others improve their relationship with their bodies through exercise. And also teach them about safe movement and wellness. Of the utmost importance in the field of physical education is the understanding of how the body and mind move. How the body and mind move. You feel me? How the body and mind. We are made of 3 different parts: flesh, soul, and the spirit. The flesh does what it wants to do. You have no control. If the flesh is hungry, you will eat. If the flesh is sick, you will lay down. If the flesh farts, what the spirit is different portal. It's where your emotions, where your feelings are, but it's only temporary. And on the spiritual side, it can't be portals to God. It can't be portals together to double good, bad, or indifferent. What the spirit does, it fights the flesh to come over to the spirit side to control the soul. And the soul is the mind. That's how our body works. And what happens here, you ever heard somebody say, oh, I'm sorry. The heart doesn't do anything that the mind doesn't tell it to do. Let me explain that first. You ever heard somebody say, oh, I love them with my heart, my spirit, and my mind. It's all the same thing. It's like somebody saying, oh, I love water, the liquid, the vapor, and the ice. It's similar to saying that. And it doesn't make sense at all. The thing about my father is, he must have understood this concept. Somewhere in his training and somewhere in his teaching, he had to understand this concept. And the reason why, because he was an intramural director. As Mr. Stone always talked about that, who, by the way, is my grandfather, my godfather. He's crazy and all that, but I just got to snitch. Okay. The intramural director, what he did was he learned how to collaborate with different departments, along with partnering with different organizations to complete the task of having a successful mind-body movement. He was focused to achieve greatness by having fun. That was his goal. The name Herod means army ruler or military power, which is how he governed. You see, Joshua was the leader of the Israelite army. And he was appointed by Moses. He was disciplined. He was focused. He had a vision. He was precise. He was accurate. And he was loyal to his mission. You see, Joshua, his mission was, he was so mission oriented that he didn't let anything stop him from conquering the promised land. He had to make sure all of his soldiers, all of his people was right. He had to make sure that their hygiene was proper. He had to make sure that their weapons were sharp. He had to make sure that each soldier possessed specific qualities that allowed them to be mentally, physically, and spiritually ready for battle. And also, while strategically planning, putting them in a situation that they could excel. See, what Joshua did, Joshua had to partner with all the 12 tribes. He had to partner with all the 12 tribes, leaders of the 12 tribes of Israel. Joshua had to get up early morning and work late nights just so he could get his mission completed. What Joshua did was, Joshua was so mission-oriented that nothing stopped Joshua from completing his mission. Case in point. Joshua chapter 6 through 10 says, when Joshua had spoken to the people, the 7 priests carrying the 7 trumpets before the Lord went forward, blowing their trumpets. This is when Joshua was getting ready to fight the battle of Jericho. And the Ark of the Covenant followed them. The armed guards marched ahead of the priests who blew the trumpets, and the real guards followed the Ark. At this time, the trumpets were sounded. So let me paint a picture. The 7 priests with the 7 trumpets was right here. The Ark of the Covenant was right here. The guards were before the ones blowing the trumpets, and the guards were behind them. That's the order that Joshua put out. And if you could just imagine a track, I can imagine a track, and just imagine Jericho, 1.5 miles where this track is, and Jericho, and they were marching around Jericho. And the soldiers were in front and behind. And basically the percussion was what Joshua was talking about. But then on verse number 10, it says, but Joshua had commanded the army, do not give a war cry. Do not raise your voice. Do not say a word until I tell you to shout. The key thing is Joshua commanded the army. You don't ask the army to do something. You don't plead with the army. We've been in that position where we've been commanded by my boss. We've been there. And as he told them this, he said, don't give a war cry. But what happened was, what Joshua did was, the reason he told them this is because he was there. When the Israelites were with Moses wandering through the desert for 40 years, he was there when it was supposed to take him 10 days to go 400 miles. He was there with the bickering and the whining and the crying and the complaining and the not understanding. Joshua was there. So when Joshua said, I don't want y'all to say nothing. Shut it up. Simple. You don't know my mission. I got my mission. Just shut up. And sometimes we might have felt that way. Don't talk that way to us. You see, my father, he was a man of few words. He didn't always agree with others. The majority of others did not accomplish what he accomplished. You see, Joshua couldn't focus on the parents. He couldn't because they. You see, when Moses took the Israelites, Israel, for 40 years, none of that 1.5 million people made it to the promised land just like Moses. Everybody died with the exception of Joshua and Caleb. So Joshua was in charge of 5 million people. My father he had led Northwest Track Club since its inception. And what he did was he could not focus on the parents. He had to focus on the youth. He had to focus on helping the youth run, helping the youth get better, helping the youth achieve goals that some of them might not achieve in life. And what he did was he eventually inherited success. My father led Northwest Track Club since its inception. When he came to Trotwood, and what he was able to do, he was able to deal with Trotwood. He was able to use their track. And when the winter came outside, he was able to make a deal with Roosevelt. And when the pipes broke at Roosevelt, and the pipes always broke at Roosevelt, we would go to the Salem Mall and run there first thing in the morning. We would have track practice over our house on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We had markings on the side. 200 was up the hill, 400 was the bus stop. The 800 was down where Tony Davis lived, and the bridge, that was a half mile. And Pop said, I'll go ahead and do a mile. I gotta run to the bridge. And I remember the bridge being 20 feet long. I just wanted to go to the bridge. You know, Bonnie go there. Bonnie girl, she went to the other side. We even had sleepovers with the track team coming over because sometimes the parent had stuff to do. We're all parents. And the sleepovers, you know, we had to get up early and go. You know, Pops had to be on our not a minute later. You see, this type of foresight could only be seen through his eyes because he understood his mission. And the thing about it is that, check this out. Pops had many helpers. Everybody in here helped. And every last helper was great. Every last helper that Pops had understood their own mission. What he did was he surrounded himself with like-minded individuals to get the task at hand done. I remember one time my Pop bought a bus. Well, I don't know if he bought a bus, but we had a bus. And we were going to a track meet, and we almost fell off, or he slid up, and we slid off into a ditch. And somehow, Mr. Smith, Mr. Smith, he was holding Pop with one hand, holding the wheel with the other hand, and had his foot back like here, saving everybody. We could have ended up in the ditch with one of the signs on the side of the road, or crossing the side of the road. But Mr. Smith, he understood his role in this mission. He understood his part in this mission. And that's the kind of people that my father had up under him. I take that back, who worked with him. You see, under my father's tutelage, he developed the minds of doctors, lawyers, engineers, CEOs, track coaches, football coaches, public officials, Olympians, preachers, managers, educators, and a whole bunch of careers I probably can't even remember right now. But the main thing is he opened doors to minds that might have been available otherwise. He inspired greatness throughout life and never had the mindset to accept anything else. You see, Joshua is my favorite character of the Bible because he was the greatest warrior the world ever seen. He trained for 40 years before he started his first mission. And by no means am I calling my father Joshua. I am not saying that. But I do see a lot of traits inside of Joshua from my father. Josh is my favorite character in the Bible because I'm very familiar with my father's legacy, which is still ongoing after his death. The lives he's changed, the reach, his success, it's just not confined to this room. It's not confined to Trotwood. You see,